Lessons from a Navy SEAL, living like a warrior in 2016. And Lord knows we need men and women to live like a warrior and not be cowards in America today. Chris, it is an honor to have you on. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, Jesse.
And I just have the utmost respect. I have the utmost respect for all military men and women, but especially Navy SEALs. And I want to know how long did you serve in the Navy as a Navy SEAL?
I went in the Navy in 1989 and retired 20 years later, and most of that was as a SEAL. I started off as a diver, doing support for the SEALs, so I was like their medical diver, and it came to a point where I was going to have to change where I worked, and they were going to put me on a ship. And surprisingly enough, I'd been in the Navy for 4 years and had never been on a ship, so I decided to, go be a SEAL at that point.
Becoming, and I've seen, documentaries on becoming a Navy SEAL. It is not an easy thing to do. Were you concerned in the beginning that you were not going to make it?
Well, here's the interesting thing. When it comes to, becoming a Navy SEAL, people that show up to BUDS training, basic underwater demolition SEAL training, they already show up as SEALs. They're going to make it through or they're not going to make it through. We don't make them into SEALs by showing up there. It's not like we teach them to be strong and these different things. We teach them certain skills that warriors need, that we need them to do on their missions. But what it takes is a certain internal drive. It takes a warrior spirit, and we don't give you that at training. You show up with that, and we find out who's got it.
That's amazing. You have retired from that, from being a Navy SEAL. What made you retire?
Well, I like to think once a SEAL, always a SEAL. But I retired in '09, and I retired just to really spend time with my kids. I grew up without a father, and he left when I was very young, and I realized after I came back from one of my deployments that my boys were growing up without a father,
yeah.
And I just wasn't going to do that to them. I loved my job, and I really wish I was still doing it, but being a father to my boys is much more important.
You're absolutely right, man. God bless you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. What qualities is a SEAL trained to embrace?
Well, here's the interesting thing. Most people, when they think about SEALs or any special forces, any warriors actually, lately, they tend to think more about the hard side of being a warrior. They think about being aggressive, and they think about, just being strong and brave and, all these great qualities of a warrior. But if you look at any warrior tradition, and if you think about it more like yin and yang, the hard and soft of any true warrior, it needs to be balanced, and it needs to be balanced perfectly with soft qualities that every warrior needs to have. And the biggest quality that a warrior needs to have is love. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but some of the main reasons that you really need to have and be a loving warrior is, if you're training every morning, like I teach shooting, if you're training to shoot just because you want to look cool at the range,
right,
you're going to hit the snooze button in the morning when you plan to get up and train. But if you're training because you don't want to see your children get hurt, you want to protect them, you don't want to feel that pain. You don't want them to feel the pain. Maybe if you're in law enforcement or the military and you're going to deploy, and you know that if you're not the best warrior you can be, they're not going to see you, and you don't want them to feel that pain. And that's love, and it's that same love that during battle, that during any conflict is going to give you the power and the strength to do what you need to do to make it home to those you love.
You say that SEALs should be loving in addition to disciplined and strong. Um, and you just talked about love. Is this the type of love you're talking about? Is it an emotional love or a logical love?
It's definitely an emotional love. You have to feel that. You know, you can think that you're doing something for one reason, but your emotions, it's what drives everybody in what we do. And like I said, if you're doing it because if you're learning to shoot because you just want to look cool, or even if you just want to win a competition, it's okay if you really love and you have a passion, a deep passion for winning. That's fine. It doesn't have to be protecting your family. It could be love of your country. It can be for the love of God and your family. Whatever it is, it has to be emotional love, because that is, when we're kind of broken down and we're tired, in the morning when that alarm clock goes off and you had planned on getting up early to get up and train maybe a half an hour early every morning, you're going to hit the snooze button because you
Yeah.
don't have the conscious, logical control at that point, but your emotions are always there.
I've noticed over the last 25 years, Chris, that a lot of men, boys, teenagers and men are very emotionally weak. Um, and because they have not had fathers to be a strong example for them, they only had their mothers there, and they are emotional weak. You say that anyone can be a part of the warrior class. Explain that, but tell me, how do you get a weak person to become a warrior?
Well, Jesse, I'll tell you, you're exactly right. Our society has looked at the warriors and just men in general, and trying to force this equality in the wrong way. There's definitely nothing wrong with equality, but equal does not mean the same.
Right, right.
Four quarters and a dollar bill are equal in every single way,
Yeah,
but they are not the same. They're very different. And we need to embrace that. And we used to,
right.
now everything has got to be okay with, make your kids play with Barbie dolls. No, teaching a boy not to be a boy is like trying to teach a bird that it's not okay to fly. They have to do that. And without that, we're going to have the problems that we see in society, from our young men, or I should say boys, because they're not becoming men,
Right.
but we can do it. And, as a father, you need to do it. Even if you're a mother and you're alone, you can raise your children to be warriors. And the way to do that is really simple. One of the first things that everybody needs to do, and I see so many people that don't do it, is they wake up every morning and they don't have a plan for their day. That'd be like saying, I want to go on vacation and just, get in your car and drive. You're going to get somewhere, but you're not going to know where that is. How can you get up every single day and just let the day happen? Wake up and say, you know what, today I'm going to be a warrior. Today, these are the things I'm going to do to become better and stronger, more loving, whatever it is. Plan out your day, and people will just be amazed at what you can accomplish just by that simple task.
I have a story coming up later in the show. Some man who has a son took his little boy to the store, and toy store, the boy picked out a Barbie doll or doll. And the father was so proud of his little boy. He was like, yeah, you made your own decisions, your own choice of what you're going to be, your own decision. He was proud that his boy had chosen a doll over a dump truck or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this man is setting his son up to destroy his own son by allowing him to act like a girl rather than correcting that.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, and that's our job. And unfortunately, it's what that father has been around. I'm sure, in this whole mentality that everything has got to be okay, and the loud voice of the minority, has taken over, and people are just, I hate to say it, like sheep. I call them sheeple, you know?
That's right. Chris, Navy SEALs are the toughest men in the armed forces, right?
Well, yeah, of course, being a Navy SEAL, I'm going to say that, but the good thing is every other service is going to say the same thing.
All right. Is there a place people can go and read or learn the lessons from a Navy SEAL? Do you have a website or something you'd like to give out?
Yeah, my website is chrissajnog.com. It's Sajnog, kind of a tough one. But people can also find out about my new book, Navy SEAL Shooting, at navysealshooting.com.
You value routine, meditation, and competition. Explain that to us.
Well, meditation is the most important thing that anybody can do, not just if you want to be a warrior, if you just want to be a better person. There's so many scientific studies that have been done now. When I retired the last year that I was in the Navy, I had 6 major surgeries to kind of rebuild my body from the damage that I had sustained as a SEAL. And I was, to be honest and open with you, I was on a lot of pain medications, and I started meditating. And I did it twice a day, 20 minutes a day, and very quickly I got off, all the medication I was taking. My back feels fine. It's great right now. But physically it's good for you. Mentally, it teaches you to focus and be able to react and receive the information you need. I know a lot of people are concerned when they hear the word meditation that they think it has to do with an Eastern religion, and that's just not the truth. In the Bible, there's several. I think there's like 28 verses I found that specifically tell followers to meditate. It's just really a great thing. So meditation's great. Competition.
Let me ask you about meditation first.
Sure.
You're right. A lot of Christians run away from the word meditation because they do associate it with Middle Eastern, quote unquote, religion. Right. And they have been taught by, in some cases, their parents and by their preachers or pastors or ministers that meditation is evil, is not of God. How do you convince them that that's not true? To be still and know God is the most powerful thing you can do.
Right. One thing I tell a lot of people, a lot of people that I teach are Christians, so this is a big area of concern. And I tell them, one, change the name to something else. Just say, I'm going to sit quietly. And, meditate on what you want to meditate on. It's focusing. Most times people, when they teach meditation, like I do, I'll teach you meditate just on your breath. Focus on your breath. That's all you're doing. But focus on God. The key is to focus on one thing, because by focusing on one specific thing, you're clearing away all the other distractions in your mind and in your life. And once people go, oh, okay, I can do that, it becomes a lot easier. Like my video producer, very awesome guy, but very Southern Christian, man and family. And when he was filming my video where I was talking about meditation, he's like, okay, hold up, Chris, can we explain it a little different? Can we call it focusing? And, but he did the same thing. He was afraid of meditation. And by me talking about it and explaining it to him, he started doing it. And it's really changed his life by doing that.
Wow. So when you meditate, you just sit still and just become aware of your breathing? And that's what you do?
That's what I do. A couple of things that are going to really help people out, especially Americans, especially type A personalities, if there is such a thing. But most people they feel they need to be accomplishing something. And the whole goal of meditating is just sitting quietly.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to go, oh, it's not working. It's not working. If you're sitting there and you're doing it, it's working. So that's what people need to realize. And the other thing too is, don't try to go for 20 minutes twice a day like I try to do. I always do at least once a day, and sometimes I'll fit in 5 minutes where I can't get 20 minutes. And that's the important thing is if you can just sit quietly for 1 minute or 5 minutes, build yourself up to it, start to know what it feels like and how good it feels, and that will help you to do more. Because just like exercise, so many people will go, oh, I don't have 2 hours to work out today, so I'm just going to sit on the couch and eat chips. You know, if you have 5 minutes to go do some push-ups and sit-ups and squats, you know, in your living room, you have enough time to work out. So it's the same thing with meditation.
So you are a Christian?
I am a Christian, yes.
And were you afraid of the word of meditation at any point in life?
No, I wasn't. I actually started meditating pretty young at about the age of 12 because I was involved in martial arts and karate specifically. And my sensei had me meditating. But interestingly enough, my stepfather at the time was upset when he heard that I was training in martial arts because he thought, you know, just karate was a foreign, you know, sport. He wanted me to do boxing, you know, something American like that. So I actually had to sneak off and practice for a few years there. But yeah, personally, it never really bothered me, but I have learned more about it just because so many people that I train with my online training and I talk about meditation. It's the very first thing I teach you need to do to learn how to shoot is to learn how to meditate. And a lot of people had concerns about that. So I actually came up and I have a list of, you know, all the Bible verses that I found that talk about meditation.
Good for you. You were not raised by your father?
No, my father left when I was like 2 years old.
Why did he leave?
I believe he was on a flight somewhere and the flight attendant you know, caught his eye, and he never flew back from that trip.
Really?
Yeah.
And so you've never seen him? I mean, the last time you saw him, you were 2 years old?
No, I have an older brother. We had seen him for a few years after that, I think up until the time I was around 12 years old, and then he stopped wanting to see us. Several years later, when I was in the Navy, I wrote him a letter and just said, hey, you know, I just want you to know I don't blame you for anything. I just want you to know what I'm doing. You don't have to write back. I don't want anything from you. Don't need anything from you. Just want to let you know that you know, it's all good and you know, whatever. And he did write back and say, I'm not your father. You know, don't contact me anymore. I'm not going to give you anything. I don't know what you want, which was interesting because I specifically said I didn't want anything or need anything. But anyways, he died a very hateful, angry person from lung cancer a few years ago. So
wow. And how do you feel today inside, inwardly, not having your father there?
You know, not having him there was most definitely a good thing. He you know, he was not a good person. Not having a father there was, you know, I my mom will tell you, my boys don't know yet, I wasn't the best kid, you know, because I did not have that discipline, you know, of having a father. So, you know, would have been good to have one, but I'm glad I didn't have that.
Chris, can I hold you over for one more short segment, or are you busy? I know you're scheduled just for the. Are you really busy?
Yeah, I've got another.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to have you back, man. You're a good man.
Oh, thank you. You're a good man, too. Just let me know.
I will, Chris. God bless you, buddy. Thank you so much.
You too.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Back in a moment, folks.